Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something.
I wasn't expecting that either.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny, I haven't seen that before.
And it feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things, of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light, when you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
So do you have a part that you want to work with, or has anything come up for you?
I think so.
Okay.
So this is an issue that I've been dealing with for a while, a couple years probably, and I think I tried to approach it from an IFS perspective once or twice, and I don't know, it's still an issue. So
Okay.
It's about list making.
Okay.
It's about my propensity to be busy with shuffling papers around, essentially, and kind of digitally, and trying to get the perfect system where ideas and projects and notes and tasks and journals and reminders all go to the right place and appear at the right time when I need them. And so because I've kind of struggled with this a lot, I kind of have a lot of different opinions about it, and a lot of different parts that are here's why that's great, here's why that's awful, here's why I'm ashamed of that, here's why here I'm ADD, here's why it's just anxiety, here's why, and so I have all these thoughts and opinions about it, but it's still, it's pretty much a daily thing where it's I feel like I have to work on this system of it's always a different app. This app doesn't do this, so I move to that app, and then I'm doing all this problem solving and even getting into well, I need a script. I need to code something to make this happen, to get it from here to there, and I'm not trained in any of that, so I'm then I'm going on forums trying to learn how to write some code to make some thing do a thing, and it consumes like a lot of time. It's time every day, and it's and sometimes it's like, yeah, there goes my whole afternoon. So I'm just trying to figure out like, I don't play video games anymore. It's like I don't do other things that are kind of puzzles that involve me staring at a screen. So it kind of like feels good. It's like, hey, I'm being productive, sort of. But a lot of times it's like, wow, I really didn't. It's this kind of thing where you don't really feel like you have anything to show for it afterwards. It's like, well, what did I do today? Oh, I organized that into that, and now it's 1% different. And anyway, so yeah, there's a part of me that's compelled to do that, or it drives me to do that a lot. And I need to work on my relationship with that part, I think.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So there's a part of you that's pushing you to organize. When you're in that mode, I know you said you have moments where you're like, oh, I have nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
But when you're kind of going down the rabbit hole, are you feeling parts chime in and judging, or does it feel okay until after the time has passed?
That's a good question. There's a little bit of resistance up front. So again, I do have ADD, and so I have all these routines and all this stuff set up to try to put me in the right place at the right time to do the right work. Keep in mind, I am self-employed, and I could stay in bed all day, and like that's fine. I don't have mouths to feed. My income is mostly passive, and so there aren't a lot of external forces telling me that I have to do anything.
Yeah.
So I have to generate that, and so I'll have like here's the thing I'm going to work on this afternoon, and I'm going to spend some time on it, and I'll start it, and then 20 minutes in, I'll be like, it's not set up right. It's not in the right. This needs to be different. It's not. It's what's the word? It's like not efficient, or not. Just the workflow doesn't feel right, and I kind of have this fantasy of like, I get the workflow right, and then, hey, I just wave a wand and work gets done. So when I do start getting pulled into like, oh, well, hold on, let me fix this thing real quick on this app. I know I can if I just move this over to here, it'll be better. I do have a part that says, don't do that. We're supposed to be working on this. But then it's like this battle of like, well, yeah, but if this needs to be different, why wait? Why wait to fix it? Ought to fix it now. And again, like, I recognize that as being like, to a degree, that's legitimate. Like, how much do you like sharpen the saw? How much do you work on the tools that you need to do the things that you do?
Right.
But sometimes I think that I'm on the super far end of person who's just constantly sharpening the saw and like not getting things done.
Like there's no balance.
Right. Not near enough.
Yeah. And you said it's something that you've been working on for quite a while, like for months or years?
I mean, I've only recognized it as a problem for a couple of years. I think because in the past it was a different, it was like playing video games or it presented in a different way, but it's like, it's puzzling. It's puzzling things, and it's being an introvert and like, So yeah, it's only been in the past couple of years where I'm trying to do some more in the world work and trying to not just stay up all night like playing games, where it's more obvious that it's like not good, not helpful for that productivity. Yeah.
But it does, as you compared it to playing a video game. Yeah. So there's something fun about the organizing and the discovering out systems.
Yeah. So here's an IFS thing. So of all my parts, I'm really well connected with my inner 5-year-old, and I have admiration and respect for my 5-year-old, and really all 5-year-olds. I think they're awesome. And every time I check in with my inner 5-year-old, and I'm like, hey, what do you want to do? What sounds fun? You know, he wants to have fun and be creative, and he likes puzzles. He just likes puzzles.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like, yeah, he doesn't want to go out and play football, and you know, I like being active, and but I really like games and puzzles. So it definitely is that. I can feel it, where it's like it doesn't feel like work, you know, it feels kind of fun, and I can do it all day, and I can stay up all night messing with it, you know.
Yeah. So do you think it's the 5-year-old part that kind of takes you off on that tangent?
I hadn't thought that it's that part alone doing that, but it's definitely involved.
Okay. So do you know which part you want to work with? The part that, like you're saying, there's a 5-year.
Yeah, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it as an adult part that's still into that. It still says yes to that.
So do you want to talk more about that?
Yeah.
Do you feel that part in your body somewhere?
Yeah. So it's not relaxed. And yeah, it often feels like, oh, I need to hurry up and do this because I have real work that I'm supposed to do. So it has this feeling of like kind of this hurried feeling, kind of pushing on my back, and maybe like quick kind of anxious breathing. And sometimes even like I'm getting away with something because I'm not doing real work. So, let me just sneak in some of this real quick. So it kind of has this like anxious kind of hurried feeling in the chest and back.
Okay. Are you able to turn towards that part? Maybe put a face on it?
Yeah, somewhat. It's kind of elusive. It's kind of like I said, it kind of feels like it's getting away with stuff. So it's kind of squirmy.
Like scared, squirmy?
No, like teenager kind of, or that just kind of youthful energy that, I don't know, you ever try to like get a teenager to do something, and you know, if they want to find a way out of it, they will, and they'll do it, and they're clever enough to, you know, get you to say yes to to their excuse.
And that's what's happening now with the part?
Yeah, it feels like that. Kind of looks like that.
Okay. Does it feel like there's another part that is stepping in? Or does it feel like it's all that part?
I don't feel any other parts stepping in that I notice.
How do you feel towards the part?
Yeah, again, I have so many thoughts and feelings about it because I've thought about it a lot. But I think to summarize how I feel towards this part is kind of disappointed, kind of let down, and like, yeah, I guess there's just some shame around like letting it run the show and kind of frustration about, damn it, why is this part, it's so easy to let it take control. Yeah.
So there's a part that's kind of, I don't know, is judging the right word? There's a part that sounds really frustrated.
Yeah.
With the part. Am I saying it?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of parts that react to it. There's judging parts, and there's shame parts, and there's embarrassed parts. I think they might all could be separate. But.
Yeah. Are those parts able to relax a little and give space so that we can get to know this primary part?
Yeah, I think the hardest one is embarrassment. I don't really, I don't love talking about it, and I feel like it's a problem that most people don't have. So it's kind of like some embarrassment. But let me ask that embarrassment for space.
Okay.
Okay. Space granted.
Okay, great. So can you turn towards the part and ask, what do you want me to know?
Yeah. Too squirmy. He doesn't want anybody to know anything. He's kind of trying to get away with something. So he's kind of got his back turned, and he just doesn't like the light being on him.
Yeah. What does he think his role is? Or job?
I don't know. So this is your first time being practitioner.
Yes.
So with this part, well, I'll say two things. One is that it's important that I'm asking the part those things. So that's just my tip for you is to have me ask the part. But I'm having trouble connecting with it, and because I have tried to work with this part before, I can kind of try a shortcut that did work in the past where, yeah, it wasn't facing me, and it was like, okay, so what do I need to do to get its attention?
Okay.
And I imagined kind of just kind of like, imagine it's in a computer chair or something and it's got its back turned, and it's like, okay, I can just turn the chair around. And I can kind of, and it's kind of like, it's not aggressive, but it's kind of when you're talking to a kid or something who's distracted and you like put your hand on them or something, it's kind of like, hey. So that's how I can connect a little bit with this part.
Okay. Do you want to try that?
Yeah. So I've done that. So I have some direct contact now.
Okay. And how does I can ask questions, or you can tell me like what if there's a direction that I should.
No, my only feedback is that you tell me to ask it. So you would say, ask the part that, ask the part this.
Okay.
And I know it feels weird because how often do you do that in conversation? But yeah, it's kind of just, it's kind of, or you might say, can you try asking it this or that? Mm-hmm.
Do you want to try asking again what the part wants you to know?
Yes. It's kind of jumbled, but it is about fun. It's about fun, and it's about deeper anxiety about not wanting to do the work, or kind of like a fear of success or fear of exposure from doing the work. But the first thing that comes up is about fun, which is okay, yeah. So this part is saying yeah, he's got some kind of contempt for like me being boring. It's my life. It's my life's like the opposite of that rock and roll lifestyle I used to have. So yeah, and so yeah, he's got kind of a piss off attitude about like the lack of other fun things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Very much.
Can you ask him what he feels his job is then?
Yeah, to not be bored to death. That I could risk actually getting bored to death, and I would just gather dust. Yep.
Yeah. Sounds like you resonate with that.
Yeah, very much.
Or you get it.
Yeah.
And does he want to talk about, do you want to ask him if he wants to talk about how he got the job?
Yeah, no, it's just always been, it's just I mean, so everybody needs to have fun, and it's not related to trauma or anything, it's just a need to have some fun. Again, I do think there's a deeper thing about what is protecting from some anxiety of when I do work, it has consequences in the world, and when I don't do work, hey, nothing can go wrong, kind of. So there is that. But I think for now, I don't want to go into that for now. And I think this fun thing is worth examining still.
Okay. So you think maybe it's a separate part that has the fear of success?
Yeah, fear of exposure, I think if there was an exile that's being protected, it's kind of the fear of exposure, humiliation, being out in the world, and getting judged, that kind of stuff.
So I'll be honest, I'm not really sure what direction to go now, because wanting to have fun and not die of boredom, that makes sense to,
Yeah, it makes sense.
I understand that. So
that's the next step. The next step is to befriend the part by showing it my recognition and validation and and appreciation.
Okay. Do you want to do that?
I'll do it right now.
Okay.
So yeah, I need to say to this part, I really get that, and I appreciate that, and he's right that I don't know, I live out in the middle of nowhere, and some of my neighbors, they also don't leave their homes. They also it's kind of just real quiet out here, and I see some of these people, and they're old and dusty, and it's kind of scary sometimes to see. So I do appreciate him looking out for that very real outcome for people. You can do nothing.
Of wanting to have fun, or
of not doing anything, of staying isolated, of just being a shut-in, and not filling your days with the joy and jubilance.
Yeah. Do you feel like the parts can feel your appreciation?
Yes.
And then should I ask what are you afraid of will happen if you don't do your job? Because you kind of already said.
So
that.
And I think that's true. So I did already, he already showed me that. Yeah. So we can skip that. We know what he's afraid of.
Okay. And then should I do the next part? If you didn't have to do this job, if you could change what it protects, what might you do?
Yeah. So I might change it to something like, if I could change, if that wasn't a problem, if I wasn't gathering dust, how else would he like to spend his energy? If that wasn't a concern. Yeah, so I just got the image of like a a dog that gets to go for a long run, and then it gets to take a nap. So, yeah, he can relax if I have big fun. If I go chase the ball, then I can relax. I don't have to be simmering on, this is kind of boring, so let me cheat and half do it. Yeah.
So if you can find other ways to play.
Yeah.
How old, do you know how old, do you want to ask the part how old he is?
How old he is? He seems like a teenager or early 20s.
And how old do you want to ask him how old he thinks you are?
Yeah. Early 20s.
Okay. So that's not really something how old are you? Early 20s?
No.
Okay.
No. But I was telling you about the rock and roll lifestyle, and that was early 20s and most of my 20s. I was kind of a drinker and partier for pretty much at least all of my 20s.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But there was also some, like, it was depressing, that's why I had to drink so much because a lot of it was fake fun, like, oh, the music's loud and we're going to do some drugs. And, it's like, and so I think, he even had to work hard back then to a degree where, like, for this part, or for me to have a good time, I had to get away from the wild party and go do something by myself, like that. So he's been managing the fun for a long time because I have that kind of personality or tendency where it's like, oh, now we're having way too much fun and this is dangerous and stupid fun, like, what did we get ourselves into because we kept saying yes to having fun, and now the pendulum is swung and it's like, now I'm like a monk, and it's so he's looking for it.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense to me. How are you?
Yeah, absolutely.
How are you feeling right now?
All makes sense.
Do you want to update him on your age?
Yeah. I'll say one more thing. There was a period, again, like those college days where, we were wild and partying, but we also really had some good, wholesome fun too. Like, hey, we're going to go, me and actual friends are going to go to a show and, we're going to drive, and spend the weekend somewhere. And so there were like events, that we made good memories. And so that's kind of that big fun that I feel like I'm missing out on now.
Yeah, I definitely relate to that.
Yeah. It's hard to compare to college days, I think, for a lot of people. I mean, the phone would just ring and be like, do you want to go to the beach? It's like, well, yeah, I was going to go to class, and then the phone rings and it's like, hey, there's a show. Like, are you coming? It's like, okay. Like,
yeah.
It's pretty nice to have.
So do you want to ask him what he needs from you in the future?
Yeah, he needs to do that. He needs to go to shows. Yep.
Yeah.
He needs to waste some gasoline and go places.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're just brainstorming right now what that might look like in current days. Current days where, yeah, I don't have, my phone's not ringing. There's COVID. And I have tried, every now and then I will do something like that where it's like, okay, yeah, I'll go do this thing. And I end up not enjoying it. So we need to do some brainstorming on that.
Yeah.
And I have compassion for him. It's like, and I have compassion for everybody. I mean, it's a lonely world, and there's a lot on offer that's very empty. It's hard to find. It's hard to find like the thing that's really fun and fulfilling, I think, for a lot of people. So
yeah, I relate.
So that's where in this conversation, like, I feel the need to get kind of concrete. And so I need to like make a date with this part because maybe it's ADD in me or whatever, but it's like, okay, when are we doing that brainstorming? What's the metric? How much fun do we have? How many hours a week? Just trying to get real detailed about it. So that he's not just complaining. And I'm being, I'm honoring him and that need.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. So I'm taking notes. I'll put it on the calendar. I already have it a little bit on the calendar, but I skip it a lot. So.
Does he feel like you get it? Like you understand?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to ask him if there's anything else he wants you to know?
He wants me to know that he knows that it's not going to be a party every weekend, and that puzzling on these systems really isn't a terrible use of time as long as it's kind of fenced in to some degree,
Yeah.
So yeah, he and I just need to talk or brainstorm and figure out where we can compromise and like, yeah, how many hours, how many minutes, where, when does that activity happen? And is it fine? Where is it too much? And what events do I need to arrange so that everybody's happy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the next part then is concluding. Is that what would you recommend?
Yeah.
Next.
I usually just leave it up to the person, and I feel complete. I think we did good, and I appreciate it. And I feel more connected to this part and able to have a conversation about a very real issue rather than chase him around or be pushed around by him around an issue that's hard to put our finger on, of like, what does this mean? You know, how much fun is the right amount of fun? That needs to be that needs to be a conversation we have. So I'm feeling good about it.
That's great.
Yeah.
I've been putting play on my list to do. I keep saying even play 5 minutes a day, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I tend to also like go, I didn't do that today, maybe tomorrow.
It's hard. You know, it's like you have to plan it. And it's like, well, hold on, how much of planning? Now I'm planning to have fun, you know?
Yeah.
And then you have to like be in the mood. And a lot of times I'll say, okay, well, fun time is at this part of the day. Well, that's when I'm half asleep. It's like, no, I don't. And so there goes that alarm that says, okay, it's time to have fun. Do the thing that you said you wanted to do that's fun. And it's like, well, no, now I want to lay on the floor. So one compromise I have made is I do have one morning a week that I call Sabbath. And it's like, I'm not allowed to do work. It's my peak energy. Normally I do my most important project, and it's just one morning a week where it's like, okay, peak energy. I have to do something that's not work. That's not screwing around with the computer either. And usually it's like, at least go outside and go, you know, there's horses to go feed or something to do outside. Well, it was good. You did great. Thank you.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah. It's nice.
Phew.
Bravo.
Thanks. Well, as we were doing that, made me think, because you mentioned wanting, you know, about the podcast, like that, you know, that could be something you do too, is like, if somebody is coaching, or, you know, somebody's in the, whatever, what do you call it? The seat where you're doing the IFS.
Practitioner, client. Yeah.
And somebody can be a practitioner and you can coach them, you know, kind of like how I was stopping and asking, okay, I'm not sure what to say right now. Or, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I do think this is a really fun project, but there's so much around it that's not fun. And like anything, you know, like any important or, you know, any work in the world, it's like, yeah, I could have these conversations all day. The rest of it is tricky. So it is nice to be able to have a project that's fun. I mean, I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks again.
You're welcome.
I never know any like graceful way to end the conversations other than just saying thanks to people and thanking parts.
Yeah. I'm laughing because I'm kind of an Irish exit person, you know, just like, oh, well, I was there and now I'm not.
Yeah, me too.
But on the phone, you have to say at least goodbye.
Yeah, unless you have any other questions about like your role, and if you want to look at anything that you said or did or want to do differently, I'm happy to talk about that for a minute if you want or not. Well,
I mean, just any feedback. I know you said tell you to ask the part.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
No, I mean, especially for a first time, I thought it was great. And
oh, cool.
Yeah, just you did fine. So
okay.
Yeah, it is tricky to how to phrase telling someone to ask something. But
yeah, it seems like it's just something I just have to keep practicing saying.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I take notes from exactly what Dick Schwartz is saying. I was like, okay, that's his exact phrase.
Yeah.
And I've heard him say it more than once. I'm sticking with it, and I should do more of that. I need to listen to more of his conversations because it's surprising, you'll hear him in 4 different scenarios and he's using the same exact language for people who are having very different experiences or very different parts.
It's wild.
Yeah, and it's liberating. It was inspiring for me. It's one of the reasons I was like, oh, I can do that. Shoot, he's just saying the same thing every time. But
yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
That makes it accessible.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I will talk to you on Wednesday then.
Sounds great. Thank you again.
Okay, you're welcome. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Zikri, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows? That might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube, and they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.